Welcome to Once Upon a Sunday Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host Josh. With me is Dirtbag Dave and our guest from where are you from? Is that still a thing? What you guys do
Special
over there?
guest.
It's
Special
my special
special
guest
guest. What do you
Marco.
say?
Well, I'm just gonna leave it as Marco, one of our
Just
favorite people in the whole
just
world.
Marco.
I
That's
mean,
all.
that's
That's
what
all you
you,
need to know.
By the way,
Marco.
you could have set me up a little bit more. I had no idea. We're just 1 second talking about your insurance rates, and then all of a sudden the screen's black, and I'm sitting here like
Yeah, you probably could have given him more of
waiting for this
like
fucking. Like, let me know what's going on a little bit.
Yeah, he's just
I
like,
mean-
all right, boom, hit start.
I mean, look, I want to do a tight 45 tonight. I ain't got much time. I'm so high. I have no idea what's happening. I hope you guys are good.
I'm
What day is it?
great.
Yeah, exactly. Dave, I promise you, I took this much of a puff. I was done till 2 p.m. today. I couldn't think.
That makes me so. I think that's awesome, but that annoys the shit out of me because I've been trying to get high with the shit you gave me, and it sucks so bad.
Oh,
There's,
whatever.
there's very few things that are good about living in New Jersey, but one good thing is as of tomorrow, it's the same as alcohol. You can buy it anywhere as long as you're 21, no med
Really?
card, anything.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep.
Oh, that's nice.
So
Did you have to,
one nice thing about New Jersey.
did you have to have a medical card before, or was it because here in that's what we do in
Sure.
Florida. I have to have a card.
Oh, you had to
Okay.
have one. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
Well,
or you just have to know someone that has one.
So, or you do other things.
or that too. All right, let's get right into business. We are breaking down auction startup drafts. I know a lot of startup drafts have already happened. More will happen. We will all get bored during the summer, and we will all join at least one or two or three or four or five new startups. And we want to make sure you guys are drafting like big boys, like you're supposed to draft, auction style. Snakes. This is not 1999 anymore. We can move on. Drafting by ADP is a joke these days. It's like you're a robot. So let's give you some auction tips and how to build your team the way you want it. The way you envision your team, you can do that with an auction. Not so much of a snake, but auctions are the way to go. Marco,
Yeah. What's up?
do you agree with everything I said? You're a snake guy still, I think.
Yeah. No, Snake. Listen, Snake. The only reason I ever like playing Snake is if I'm in a league with fucking idiots who could ruin the entire draft when you're doing an auction because they have no idea what they're doing. Right? Like auction is don't know what you're doing. You can ruin the entire league by drafting a horrendous team. Snake holds your hand. So when you're playing with idiots, they just, at least they get somebody on ADP and it's not that bad of a fuck up. That's the only
Usually,
reason
yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, so the ADP is like literally like training wheels. Dave, remember that
Exactly.
startup we did where somebody traded a first round pick to trade up to select a defense?
Don't start. I forgot all about that. I really forgot all about that. Oh my god.
In a dynasty, what?
Yes. It
So
was like
this,
the 15th round.
it was like the 16. You know what it was too? It was sweet. It was
No
yeah.
way.
He traded like he traded like a 16th round pick
No, Sweep
to
didn't
trade up.
No,
No,
Sweep, it
not
wasn't
Sweep didn't. No. The guy traded with Sweep.
Okay.
He traded-
Sweep to bend him
Yes.
over. Right,
Yeah. This random guy traded his like 16th, his first round pick the next year for like a 16th round pick to get a defense. This is when we were still playing with defenses, and we're like, just fucking. And I told the guy, it's funny
Also
because I
think
told the
with
guy,
that.
no, don't do it. And he still did it. And then afterwards, when I'm like clowning him, we all are. He's like, he said something because I'm the commissioner. Something that he's like, don't put that trade through because someone had to make a drop. That's what it was. There was too many players. And I'm like, dude, I'm a commissioner. You made a trade, like you gotta eat it. Like, I'm sorry. Like, what do you want me to do? Don't he's like mad at me because it's my fault. I'm like, I didn't make you accept. Like, I didn't make you do that. I didn't make you send it. If it was Josh or anybody else, I would put the trade through. Like, we literally all tried to warn you. Like, I'm sorry that you're an idiot. Like, sucks to be you.
And he left the
So.
league literally the next year.
Yeah, like
because-
a year later, he pointed. He told me he blamed me. Like, he was mad at me. Like, I was trying to sabotage him. Yeah, that's my fault that you're a fucking moron. Okay.
What, that you didn't hold his hand?
Anyways. Yeah, apparently I had to click accept and reject for him too.
Yep. Hey Dave. So I talked to Marco about his auction. What he likes better. Like, are you still a snake guy? Or are you just full on auction at this point?
So snake drafts are fun because I mean, like when we do our redraft leagues every year, like, you know what I mean? They're still fun. You see the board coming up. You hope this guy will fall to you. When you get sniped, I mean, that's the worst. Like, we all know that feeling. You're a peek or two away. There's a guy you really want, and you get sniped. Like, that sucks. But overall, you're used to it, and I'm fine with it. I don't mind. But auctions are just like on a different level of like one, strategy, and two, like fun, because you literally have a chance to get anybody. Like, literally anybody you can have on your team. If you want that guy, you bad enough, you can go get him. So it's a lot more strategy and a lot more fun, and I love them. I think they're a lot of fun.
Especially the ones that go, the long drafts, not these fast, like 45 seconds. Like those are fun too for redraft. But
Those
for
are
an
quick.
auction,
Those are like, oh shit, what's going down?
but those are fun
Yeah.
because you're just like, I remember one year, internet was so bad on my phone. It was with Christian McCaffrey before he was Christian McCaffrey. And remember, Dave, I wanted him no matter what. I got him in all those leagues. I brag about it to this day. I
Yeah.
was,
Do you?
I do a little bit.
We've all heard it.
So,
We've all heard
anyway,
Never heard you talk about it, Josh.
I was doing a fast draft, and Andre was the one making fun of me the most about CMC, telling me CMC's a bum, like you're so stupid. So I bid on CMC like I do, and my phone internet was so slow, and he kept on bidding me up. So I hit bid so many fucking times. I went to like $55, and I'm like, at the time, his projection was like $22. I'm like, oh no, that was the year CMC went nuts, and I won the league probably. So that's what I hate about fast drafts. They can get away from you because you're just boom, 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 pounding all your money. You have no time to think, and that's what happened to me.
The slow drafts, you have too much time. You got a full fucking 12
hours, sometimes,
yeah.
That's the thing is sometimes if you got too much, that's exactly what happens. You have too much time to think, and you overthink it. Yep. And then you can hurt yourself. Yeah,
that's when you're like, you know what? I need to add an extra $10 to this guy because I really don't want to lose him. It's like you're already $20 over budget. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like,
and you're like, I don't care.
The thing about overthinking it though is, I know when Dave, we talk during these auction drafts. We do. Marco, we talk. The thing is, I know what I'm doing. Before, like, okay, at 8:00 tonight, I'm going to check. That gives that player 55 more minutes. Then I'll start bidding on the player because that gives me a whole day to figure out what I want to do, where I want to go. Like, we all know what we're going to do. If someone bids on my T. Higgins, okay, I'm going after these guys. Like, you just know you have to play the board perfectly. And I think a lot of guys out there just don't think about that stuff. They just think, I want this player and this player. They're not thinking, well, okay, I got outbid on Eckler, but I can go buy Aaron Jones for cheaper and save $20. Not the same player, but at least it's a discount. Where other people are like, I'm going back to Eckler. Like, they don't know how to manage their money.
It just depends on how bad you want him, how much you like him. Like, you wanted CMC that one time. You just went nuts for him.
Yeah. But you understand what I'm saying? Like, you do want Deshaun Watson. But most likely, Dave, you'll go, I'll go get my two cheaper quarterbacks, and it's 2 for 1.
It just depends on the prices. Yep.
So we have 2 special strategies that we love the most, picked out for all of our listeners. 2 auction strategies each. And Marco, I want you to kick it off and give me your number 1 auction draft strategy.
Oh, my one? Okay, but it might not be the same. It might be a different order from what I said to you. Let's see.
It doesn't matter.
All right. So I'm gonna go with this for number 1 at least because it's kind of the beginning of the whole thing and how you prep for it more so. So you should have a baseline ADP cost to go off of for every player. And I say that because you can go into these drafts, and I know on MFL it's different maybe than other sites and whatnot, but MFL is what we primarily use. And there's kind of nothing to go off of, like, whatsoever really when you're looking at a lot of these guys. Like, you have no idea, like, should he be 100, 200? I have zero idea. Like, what percentage of my team should I be spending on that? So you should have a plan going into it, what percentage you're doing. Now, you don't have to stick to it the whole time, but you should be constantly looking at the ADP values and making sure that you know where guys land so that maybe you do outbid an average cost of an ADP way more than it's supposed to be because it's your guy. That's fine. That's your decision. But at least you know, hey, I'm outspending here, and it means I'm going to have to save down the road on X, Y, Z, right? If you don't go into it with an ADP cost, like, you're completely screwed once you start trying to get your guys because you're going to fly past that number.
Dave, do you go in with an ADP little scale as Marco was talking about?
I do not, but I think what he's saying is smart. It's again, we use MFL, so it's kind of I take that back. When I say I don't have it all listed out like some people would individually, players, or I've seen people do like, because I'm gonna spend this much on this position, this much on this position, this much on this position. But I do have a baseline in my head of about what I want to spend. So similar, yes.
Right.
But I don't have a number set to where like I'm gonna do this, because to me you got to be fluid, and I've said this in regular drafts. You have to be able to adjust. So yes, in the back of my head, I want to be smart about my money and how much I'm spending, but I don't set each individual player like some people do, and that's honestly that's probably smarter. But I'm more of a just fly by the seat of your pants kind of guy. So you know me.
Yeah, we know that, Dave.
Well, hey, I do want to add, I'm kind of the same way as Dave, where I don't have everything set out. I don't have my tier. Like I have my tiers obviously in my head, and I know who I want. But I like to have my number one when my number one player on that position goes. Like let's say Adams as a wide receiver position goes for $72 in a $400 budget. Now I know, okay, I'm not going above $70 on another receiver because that's the cap. That's the market. That's the
That's
way I
not
look at
true.
it.
You can't do
But
that.
but hold on, but obviously you can't do that.
That could easily
But
change.
Yeah,
but it can easily change. But I don't like to. I like to set the market at that's the top
I
position, and
I
I
think
want
that's smart. I
everyone.
think you're right. But how many times have we seen? And this is, I don't know if this will probably come up at some point in this thing, where I know it will. Early in the draft, especially, because yeah, one, everyone wants to spend their money, but everyone else is also like, it's just two train of thoughts. I want to get this guy bad, so I'm going to overpay for him. Or what also happens is there's 8 more guys in this tier. I'm gonna let this guy go. That guy goes for $72. The next 3 guys go for 90, and you're like, what the fuck just happened? And the guy that got Adams for 72 is like over here in the corner, like jerking his dick because he just like stole. Yeah,
That
that's what,
that happens a lot on the
absolutely, like
first guy.
that
Yeah.
first bar. It's either going to be too high or way too low. It's very rare that the like number one guy is the number one guy that price at the position, unless it's like like a CMC where everyone knows that you're gonna spend a shit ton for that guy, or Mahomes in the past at that, or Kelsey, certain guys. But like if there's a lot of similar, like I say, receiver, there's a lot of really good ones. There's, probably 5 guys you could flip a coin on. Adams goes first. The next 3 guys, and you're like, wow, the guy Adams got him $30, $15 cheaper than the other guys. Got Jefferson or Chase or whoever.
And
So
that's why this is so important, right? Because like if you don't go in with a number, then that first one could be completely off, and you have no idea what to gauge it off of. If all you're doing to build like the values of each player is what the draft is playing out as, you can't know what that is until halfway through the draft. Like there has to be a beginning state. Now it'll definitely be fluid and change with it, right? But like there's got to be something for out the gate what you're expecting.
I don't
Yeah,
disagree.
I mean, I don't disagree with that at all. I hate being the guy who goes, you know what, I'm going this much over. Like let's say Marco was Saquon, I'm going to spend this much because I think he's worth that much. Well, shit, you could have got some. It happens all the time. Dave, what's your number one tip?
Well, my number one tip. I'm gonna go with get your guy a little bit. First of all, I had 2 of them. I don't have them written down. I remember I texted you earlier. What is get your guy? Like we said earlier about snake drafts. Sometimes you can't get your guy because they're taken. And there's nothing you can do about it. In this, if there's a guy that you believe in and you trust in, and you say, "I'm getting him no matter what." I know how many times they were in drafts. And I would get digs, and you fucking assholes would dig them up because I wanted them. But you know what? I almost always ended up with them, except for one time. Josh remembers this. I let him have them because you wanted to be a dick. And I remember specifically, you bid him up $1, and I was like, I'm gonna let Josh eat them. And what happened? He took them, and he was so mad.
It was like $36 too.
It was cheap. And then what happened? So we traded like a month later, and I stole him from him and Jefferson. But anyways, get your guys. If you believe in this guy and you truly, I've always said, in trades, you can't overpay for a guy if you believe in him. Yep. And I believe it's the same way. You can't overpay for this guy. Last year was, Deontay Johnson for me. Like I wanted him everywhere, and I believed in him, and he paid off for me. Just get a guy. If you're gonna pay more and save somebody else elsewhere, because if you're right, and you believe in whoever it is, and you hit on him, then he's gonna more than make up for the the difference in the money, because if he's as good as you hope he is or you think he is, then it won't matter if you spent a few extra dollars to get him, and you'll be happy that he's on your team. Because if you don't spend extra money and he blows up, you're gonna be killing yourself. You're gonna be so mad. You're like, why didn't I spend an extra $3? Because I want to be a cheap idiot, and now I'm stuck with this fucking bum on my roster. So get your guys if you believe in them, and even if it costs you a few extra dollars, it doesn't mean go nuts.
Was there any kind of strategies like put that guy out first, put him out last, put him out in the middle?
This is another part of the strategy. I don't know. I don't remember my second. I'll be honest, I don't remember my second.
I'll figure it out when you're talking about this strategy.
You can make this your second. I know where you're going with it. Go ahead.
But this is another part of the game is when to throw guys out. So say I'm throwing a guy out early in the draft. For me, I will throw out guys that I don't want because I want that money gone. But you also have to be smart about it because say I want Deontay Johnson and I think he's the tier break at whatever, wherever he's at. Well, guess what? There might be 2 or 3 other people that are with me. He also might be into that tier break, and everyone knows it. Everyone knows it. It's coming up. So now you think you're getting them a little bit cheaper because everyone wants to spend that money, but you also got to realize now you're fighting 2 or 3 other guys that still got a lot of money. So now you're probably going to pay more than you thought. So sometimes it's not a bad idea. I've learned this over the years because I used to just wait for my guys, not ever throw out somebody I actually wanted, and always let someone else throw out my guys. But then once you realize that, wow, he's the only guy left. Now I have to get him, but it's too late because there's 4 other teams that got money left. What are we doing?
That's my strategy number 1. Don't be the first person. Don't be the first person to win the guy in the tier or the last guy. So this
there you go. Go ahead.
Every year, where every single year everyone will throw out Eckler, CMC, Barkley, Kamara, and we're all just waiting. We're all waiting for Marco just spent $98. All right, Dave just spent this much money. So then you're like, oh, my guy's coming up. And what happens is there's 2 teams usually, and there's only 1 guy left. And I remember a couple of years ago, it was me and Dre trying to get Nick Chubb. And it was the last guy in the tier break. And Nick Chubb ended up being, I think, the second most, overpaid running back in the draft. Because we were fighting for him. Don't ever say, I'm just going to wait till the last guy, because there's always going to be one more guy going, well, I'm going to be the last guy. So you find out you get those discounts in the middle classes of the running backs, like the Ecklers or.
I think that's right.
And then
I think you get the discounts in the middle.
Yeah, and then like I said,
the big difference between this and a snake draft when it comes to like Dave's suggestion with making sure you go get your guy in a snake draft. Somebody might take your guy just because that's what their fucking ADP was,
and that's the worst part
on them, and then you could trade it. Well, but listen, but that guy you could go trade and say, let me get that guy, right? In an auction draft, whoever's taking your guy is paying a price that he decided the guy is worth. So either you decide right then and there that he's worth more and you pay more, or you're not getting that fucking guy because that person paid a specific amount that they decided he was worth. They're not going to go trade for less.
Unless they did what Josh did and tried to bid him up for $1 more and they got stuck with him.
Isn't that the worst, dude?
You know what? I don't think that's on my list of things, but that's the tip that I want to tell everybody. So
defense
is bidding people up. We've all done it, and it is a strategy, but you have to be careful because I'm not gonna. How many times have we had this? I know we've had this conversation where Marco's in the chat. He's like, Dave, go bid up that guy an extra $1 too. He's way too cheap. And I say, you know what? Yes, I did. I agree with you, but I'm not willing to get caught with that guy for that price because I don't like that. Even though I think he's probably a little bit too cheap, I also don't want to get caught with him because I don't want him stuck on my roster because I don't like if I don't believe in that guy. If there's a guy that I think is too cheap that I would be happy to have, I'll bid that guy up. No issue. But that's like I knew Josh has never liked Diggs. Never. And I knew he did that shit on purpose to get me. And I was like, fuck you, take him. I'll get him from you later because I know you don't like him. And it happened. But don't bid up these guys. Like, what's that $1 going to do? Yeah, I would rather you spend an extra $1. But if it doesn't work out and you get stuck with a guy you don't want, you're going to be mad at yourself. So be careful. Be careful. That's all I'm saying is be careful.
But sometimes
no one thinks about
this. $10, $15 is too low.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But hey, look, no one thinks about this. And
I'm like
this is actually
behind you guys, just so you guys know.
Yeah, get out of the basement. Come to Florida. So when you do bid someone up, let's say I bid someone up on Diggs to be a dick. Now I just freed up Dave $25, $35, whatever it is. Now he's going to take that money and go after a player you want, and you can't go win that
And now
player
you
back
can't even
'cause-
afford them anymore.
Exactly. That's the point. So don't pick fights where you don't really want to deal with the consequences. That's like I did.
But
The
pick
thing is,
fights.
you knew,
fun.
and honestly, 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, you knew I was going to go back for Diggs. That's the thing is, you knew that, and I always have. But I decided in that moment, I know he doesn't want him. I know I can get him from him later. And I was really pissed, so I said, "I'm gonna let you sit on him for the whole." And I remember this. This clock was running down. I almost went in and I was like, you know what? Let me steal him back, even though it's an extra dollar, and I'm pissed at him. But I was like, no, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna bail him out because then he wins, and I can't let that happen.
Well, and and to add on to this outbidding someone just because I remember I did this to you with Andy Dalton. It ends up costing.
Oh my god,
ends up
that's
costing
the
you.
worst.
And when you
That
go
was way
back after
worse.
them, explain what happened, Dave. It was the best.
Yeah, so he was at like
I ever did.
he was cheap, and it was a super flex league, and I needed a quarterback, and he was like $8 or $9, and I was gonna get him cheap, and I was happy with that. Josh bids him up like an extra dollar or two. And now he restarts the clock because the clock was literally about to run out. This is what pissed me off the most. So the clock had like less than an hour left. I'm like, you're a piece of shit. So now it resets the clock and it gives everyone a chance to relook at the board, which is what happens in this shitty part. And so now a couple guys that were like, you know what, that is too cheap. Let me go and grab them because they now have a whole new timer. And he ends up going for like $19 and like double the price. I was so mad. I was so mad. Yeah, that was the worst. That was probably the worst
clock
one
reset is the
worst.
Infuriating fucking thing. Talking to Alex, I almost stopped talking to my brother Alex because of him fucking outbidding me with like 1 minute. Like I almost disowned him and never spoke to him.
You can literally destroy a draft or what, like just by doing that less than a minute bid. And I do it all the time. I do it at least once a year, and I tell people I'm going to do it. I did it Alex last year. I forgot who it was for. That was fun.
You were such a dickhead last year in the auction. I remember you fucking doing it to everybody. And you would call it out. You'd be like, I'm going to fucking do it with 5 minutes left. I'm letting you all know right now. And then you just
That's
do it.
why I stuck him with Diggs that time. That's why I did it. Because I was like, I'm tired of your shit.
Like, I try to be a nice guy, but it's more fun when there's chaos. Like, because you want to raise those prices up in the end. Like, that's what I like to do. Dave, I'm the master at this. Beginning of the drafts, I always throw out irrelevant fucking players, and they go for way too much money.
Yeah.
Every
like a
year,
backup running back. They should go for like $1, literally $1. We'll go for like 6, and you're like, wow. Like that doesn't seem like a lot, but that's $5 is a lot. Like that
that's hidden money. I usually get off the board with those picks, and it works every single time. Marco, your number 2 tip for auction startups.
Yeah, so my number 2, and this is where auction really becomes full strategy and it becomes chess versus a snake draft, checkers, is constantly be monitoring everybody else's budget and their team and everything. Like an auction is a snake on steroids in this scenario. Like you would be, let's say you're the 10th pick in a snake, and I got Dave and Josh at 11 and 12. Like, what do? You typically at that 10th pick are looking, okay, what do they need on their next 2 picks? They both have QB, and I'm between a QB and a running back. All right, then I'll take the running back because the QB is going to fall to me. You could do that in a snake, but it's just for like 1 round at a time. This is all the players on the board at all times with all 12 other players who could chime in here. So you got to constantly be tracking their budgets and seeing like, all right, if I bid this much, can anybody else even chime in? Or, who are the competitors? Who's going to be in the market for this guy? It's constant tracking on that side.
Mm-hmm.
I always like to see who has the most money that needs this position. I like this. Like, so let's say for example, Sweep has one of our players has the most money and he needs running backs. I'm good with running backs. I think I'm going to throw running backs out because I want to monitor his money and get that money off the board as quick as possible. Dave,
no, I agree with that. No, I heard it. Sorry, my daughter walked in the room. This is why we do late shows. She's still not asleep. Yes, I agree with that completely. You got to keep track of all the money. I mean, early on, it's not as much.
Yeah.
But especially like about midway, you really got to start doing exactly that, keeping track of who's going to need that other running back, who's got the most money, what players are coming up that you might want, all of that stuff. Then it gets real dicey. I remember a couple of years ago, we couldn't figure it out on MFL how to figure out like where all the money, like who's got money. So one of the guys, I remember because he showed me the pictures. He wrote down like how much money every single team on a big whiteboard in his house, and he was sharing. Josh, I'm pretty sure you know who I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
He'd be like, this guy's got this much money. This guy's got this much money left, and I'm like, dude, you did all that work. That's awesome. Thank you. Because we couldn't figure out on MFL like there is a spot, and I figured there was, but I just couldn't find it. And he did all this research. Like this is his team. It was crazy. And it was smart because we couldn't figure it out. But you need to keep track. About halfway through in the rest of the draft, monitor everybody's money.
And another thing about money and monitoring it, we play with the reserve on, where you can bid $80, and let's say the player's worth 40 when you do it. It's only going to show that you bid 40 or whatever, and then but you see that you have 80.
Yeah.
How often do you utilize that? Because I know a lot of players don't. Sometimes I'll bid $1 and I win the player. Like a lot of people don't utilize that.
You gotta use it. The biggest time to use it is when it's on a guy that you think is worth more. That's where again, like I like to have that ADP cost, because if I have a guy that I think is worth way more than what average people are going to pay for it, then like I'm just going to list it at my max right out the gate. Or like when you're going for like my guy, right, and you're trying to get that. When you go for your guy, you list it at your fucking max. You don't play around. Like go list.
Oh yeah,
it,
it's your max.
And then that way somebody else can come get it, or if they come get it, it's past what you think it's worth.
See, I don't agree with that because let's say, for example, I wanted 101 as a rookie, and I think it's worth $65. I'm not going to go ahead and put my max at 65 because someone's going to test that limit to 65 no matter what. Someone always will.
But you think it's worth 65?
No,
but hold on.
But I see what I see.
Put it at 45. Put it at 45, and then you guys bid that $1 each until once someone quits. And let's say you don't have to spend 65 now. Now you only spend 54.
Yeah,
you see what I mean?
Or somebody, I get it, and I'm not saying you don't do that at times, but I'm saying when it's your guy, like when it's the one dude that you want on your team, you don't play that risk, because somebody who could come in could say, all right, well, I'm going to put it at 70 now that I have it again. Like now that I took it over, I don't want anybody to take it. I'm putting it at 70.
Yeah, now he's going even higher because you're that's true. I get that too.
Yeah, there's both sides. It's just like I don't ever want to put my max because I think someone, no matter who it is, will go to that max because they want to see. People want to see the max. I do it all the time.
I won't. If I think a guy's worth that, I might, but I kind of do both. A lot of times I'll put it to where I'm comfortable. I know I should stay ahead for a little while, and but I'm not at my max. Like I'm willing to go more again. But this is also, but maybe it's not a guy I love. Maybe it's a guy I just really like, and there's another guy I really like. So my guy's at 65. Someone comes in. I think he's worth a little bit more, but let me let him go because I can get this other guy for 55. I'll do that. Like I won't put him on my max. So. And then we'll play this $1 game that Josh was talking about. Who's going to go back and forth with me until we, win the guy. So,
and then, but what I like to do as well on top of that, God damn it, I forgot what I was going to say. Marco, go.
I'll take over. So the only other downside of doing that, like playing that game and not setting your max, is the timer. So for anybody not used to it, like the timer, typically we do 12-hour timer to start. There's a timer that goes on, and when the high bid gets reset, that's when the timer resets. Otherwise, the timer keeps going, and then once it runs out, you get your player. So if you don't put that high, that timer is going to keep resetting, and it gives the opportunity for more people to actually get into it. You want it to be done.
And that's what I forgot to say. I always do this. When it's an hour or 45 minutes on the clock, I'll go in there and I'll add money to it.
Yes,
that's what I do. Because I don't want to risk. That's what I was thinking about how to do. I did it with Tyreek Hill one time. It was like he was super cheap, and Sweep all of a sudden, the last hour, he took him from a $30 player. I'll never forget because I was on the phone with Dave going, Dave, stop bidding on this player.
And I was like, it's not me. I don't know what you're doing.
I was like, Dave, stop bidding on my fucking player. And then he went from like $30 to like $50 in like 5 minutes. And I'm like, if I didn't put my max up at that time, I would have lost.
I remember that.
I
Yeah.
was furious.
I'll do that about like halfway through if I'm like, okay, like I kind of like this guy. I don't like the other options on the board. I'll up my bid to a couple bucks if I think he's worth it, just to make sure I get him. Yeah, I agree with that.
And that's a reason to keep monitoring the whole time too. Like you said, you got to look at who else is on the board. Like maybe this guy, maybe now you actually do want to spend $20 over your limit on that guy. Your limit changed because everybody else is fucking gone, or you're not going to get him, or like they went to a price that you don't agree with, and now you're like, all right, well, I don't want Cooper Kupp for that much. I'd rather have Justin Jefferson for XYZ when you fucking
yeah. Yep, I agree.
Dave, you got your second tip, Dave? I got one.
What is it? I know you got it. What is it?
No, I don't. I couldn't find it, but I got one. If you want to talk about
it's
this,
in the text. It's on the message.
All right, I got it. I'll find his fucking thing.
Look at Marco in the basement. The only one to ask order on this show.
I know it was get your guy and what the fuck was the
But I wanted to talk about.
Don't
when
get
to
caught
throw
with
out
money left over.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, so people do this shit because they think they're slick, and they will. So it can work really well if you do it right.
There's so many people that fuck it up, though. So many people that fuck it up.
They. I've seen people that will literally not touch the first wave or 2 waves or 3 waves of players and let all that big money go. And honestly, that's not a bad idea. It's fine. I've tried to do it before, but I can never stay out of it personally. I always want like 1 guy or 2. But then they will just load up on all of the mid guys because they have all the money left and their team is stacked and they still have all these 2nd, 3rd, 4th round guys who are great and that's fine. But there's also the other one of you let all the talent go and now you trying to be too cheap and trying to save every dollar, which doesn't make sense because you have all the money left. And now all that's left is garbage players or average players and your team is full of like meh. And then not only that, are you left with all this money because everyone else is only bidding $2 players. You're spending $8 on $2 players. So you usually have money left over and your team's not that good because you waited too long. So yeah, don't get caught with money left over and don't be too cheap to where now you have all this money, not only just the money that, your team's not good enough. Like you can't compete because you thought you were going to, wait for all these deals. And guess what? You waited too long.
Yeah, I pulled up our cut draft from last year.
That was fun.
I wanted to look at some of those overpaid like guys who should be going for a couple bucks and went for a shit ton. Let's see. So Laviska Shenault went for the same price as Aaron Rodgers in a super flex.
That's awesome. That's fucking awesome. That's my favorite stat of the night.
Absolutely incredible. Here's another one. Jalen Reagor went for $2 cheaper than Cooper Kupp.
Oh my God, who did that?
Yep. Young Guns. That was Davey, wasn't it?
Oh, Davey.
Wow.
Those are some good
that's
ones.
Rough.
I'll leave it at those. But it's just constantly happens. You see, it's typically that like for us with our price. What do we set it at? 200.
We always do 400.
400. Yeah, 400.
So for us for 400, it's always that like the guys that should be going for single digits end up in the teens. Like that's the one. There's just multiple. Somebody collects like 4 guys for $15 that should have been 5, and it's like, all right, well that extra $40 could have gotten
you a stud
Taylor instead of fucking Antonio Gibson. Like that's a big difference between those two. So don't fuck that up.
I definitely agree with that. And my last strategy is simply shop at the clearance rack for especially the wide receiver position. What I mean by that, every year when a receiver turns 27, everyone acts like he's dying. Like we saw Devontae Adams go for super cheap last year to you, Marco. We see it every single year. Once they hit 27, for some reason, people think they're useless. They want to spend all the money on the young guys, which is totally fine. It's a dynasty. But those 27-year-old receivers are still going to be good for the next 3 or 4 years. And we play for 3 to 4 year windows. And you can get a lot of these guys super cheap. And like we do a $400 limit, talking $30 for these receivers that are going to produce for the next 4 years. See it every year.
Cooper Kupp again in that.
It does.
The example I gave, Cooper Kupp went for $16 in that league.
Wow.
The elite receivers, like the top 10 receivers, went for in the 60s to 70s, and he went for $16. Like, he was 27.
Wow.
And you're going to see it this year with Allen Robinson, and maybe he deserves it because of poor play. But you're going to see it with these veterans. I know, but you're going to see it. It's just going to happen with these veterans. They're just going to go too low. And I think, what do you guys think the gap is? This is off topic between Higgins and Chase. Is Chase $100 player? Is he a 25% of your roster?
Nobody's
money?
at 25% of your roster.
Yeah, they are.
Bullshit. We spend
Yes, they
$100 on players all the time, and we do 400.
Every year. The top guys are always about 100.
Yeah, and it's a mistake. I mean, if you drafted a year ago or 2 years ago, guess who those top guys were? Saquon Barkley. Like, it's a mistake to spend 25% of your budget on any player.
Last year, I spent over $100 on CMC and Mahomes, and my team was still competitive. It doesn't matter. You can spend the money.
Okay, but you're saying it wasn't a mistake. Obviously, it was a mistake.
I don't think it was a mistake.
That much on CMC.
I don't.
You just made up for it
that high.
I'm saying it was a mistake. In retrospect, it was a mistake, right? CMC is not nearly worth that much anymore.
Of course, so I mean that's deterioration.
But that's what I'm saying.
If he would have won the league, maybe you can say something different. But
right.
I don't know. $100 players happen all the time. So
hold on,
Chase, probably
replace CMC with Chase. Yeah, and what is Higgins? Does Higgins make him like a 20%?
To me, I like Higgins a lot. He's never going to be the alpha on that team. Chase has already taken that over. And I think Higgins is really good, but I think Higgins is a good high-end wide receiver 2, whereas Chase is the wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2 overall. He's a little bit younger. I think he's a little bit better. So I think Chase is the dominant one to have on that team. Higgins was super inconsistent a lot last year too. At the end of the year, he started coming back and playing pretty well. But like for the first part of the year, he was not that good. And people forget that.
He missed a couple games in the beginning of the year. That was really it. I mean, he was just completely average. I agree with you completely. The thing is, you never want a guy, or at least you're not going to pay elite money for a guy who can't be a top 5. And unless
he can't exactly,
he can't be. Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
So
he will never be the alpha on that team ever. And that's why when people say I love Higgins, he's a top 8 or 10 receiver, I'm like, there's no way, because his upside is limited because of Chase. And that doesn't mean you can't have 2 great receivers, but that also means I take that back. It doesn't mean you can't have 2 great receivers on the team. It doesn't mean he can't still be a top 12 to 15 guy, but he'll never be the top 5 guy.
Yeah, 10 is his ceiling.
I think so.
You can't pass 10. That's the second receiver on your team.
I agree. That's what I mean, unless
I agree
they have like a 1 year like wonder where they both have like 1,500 yards, but that's not going to be consistent enough. Like he might have that 1 year, but not consistently.
So would you rather have Chase? I know the answer because you guys are both cheap. Would you guys rather have Chase at 100 or Higgins at 50?
Chase.
100 is just a lot. I would rather have Chase for twice as much as Higgins, but like I probably wouldn't want Higgins for 50 or Chase for 100.
I probably agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. But
if
you ask me, would I pay twice as much as Higgins for Chase? 100. Yeah, easily.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I just want to make sure because I hate the $100. I'm over it because of obviously last year CMC and Mahomes both regressed and both are taking a huge shot this year. God, it sucks. Do we have any more auction tips? Because I have trivia that I totally forgot about.
Oh yeah, so did I.
Yeah, I want the trivia.
Trivia is hard. Trivia is hard this week, guys. Trivia is hard.
Let's hear it.
I hope you guys get at least one of these. Look, it's a list.
You made it nice and hard for my first appearance. I like it. All right, fair enough.
Yeah,
I respect the
respect. So it is the first one has 5 answers. I'm going to give you a stat, and then you have to name the 5 players.
Oh, we did this before. Okay.
Okay, so
that happened for. Okay, I'm not going to touch my computer. I don't want you.
All right.
I got tempted. I literally started pulling up stats for a second.
You're such a dirtbag. All right. This one, this one is a solid stat. Don't worry. Researched by me. Only 5 pass catchers had 10 or more games with double-digit targets. Who are they?
Adams, Diggs, Cup,
Jefferson.
Justin
Jefferson. You guys are going way too fast. Hold on. Cup, ding. You got that one right. Congratulations.
Wait, so say it again. Only 5 pass catchers had double-digit targets. How many times?
10 times last year.
Okay.
No.
List. No.
Jefferson?
Jefferson is a winner. Yep. He did it 10 times. He did it 10 times. And Cup did it 14 times, by the way. There's 2 more.
Deontay Johnson
had 11.
Good call.
11 games.
Was Adams? Adams has to be one.
Adams wasn't one?
Adams was not one.
No.
He had 8.
Kelsey. Got to be Kelsey.
No,
Kelsey
he
did
doesn't
not
get that many.
have-
That's absurd.
Kelsey did not.
He said pass catchers instead of receivers. That's why I know
So?
it wasn't tied in on the list.
There's no
So
tight
if it
end.
wasn't him, then it had to have been
You think
Andrews.
Mark Andrews did?
No, there's
Had
no
to
tight
be.
end. There's no tight end.
There's no
No,
tight
the
end.
pass catcher was
No way. Kelsey
a
is the
trick.
All right. Well, you got me.
pass,
It
the
worked.
pass catcher would have been CMC if he played last year, but that's it.
So there's
So
two
we
more
named, what,
guys.
3 so
What is the
far?
2 more receivers. Then
Yep.
I
You named one of their team. You named both of their teams.
named their teams.
Yeah, someone did. Well, players on the teams.
Renfro?
No, not Renfro.
It couldn't have been.
You guys-
I said Adams and Diggs. It would have been those guys if it was from their
Nope.
teams.
Nope. You want me to tell you? One got
No, no, no.
traded.
No.
One got traded.
Oh,
and
Tyreek?
one-
Tyreek.
Tyreek with 10 games. Yep. And the
I
last
didn't
one.
realize he got targeted that much. All right.
Last one should be obvious. 'cause,
I know the.
Last one. Hold on. Was it Chase?
No,
No,
it
right?
was not Chase. Chase.
Doesn't
Chase.
He
he's
doesn't
not
get.
Yeah, he
targeted.
didn't have that many
get a shit ton of
targets, no.
Yeah.
He didn't. No.
I know, but he said it should be obvious, so I was just like, what, because we
Yeah.
didn't say this whole time.
All right. Who's the last one?
No.
The reason why I brought this stat up because I had to look it up during a fight in our chat, like I think 5 days ago, and fuck that guy. CMC is worth way more than that.
DJ Moore, got it.
Oh,
Okay.
He's a
DJ
fucking
Moore.
stud.
Yeah.
I'm sorry
DJ
that you
Moore.
lost that. You should have taken that trade. I stand by what I said 100%. If you could go back now and get DJ Moore and a first round pick for those trash guys that I offered you, yes, right now on the straight up, I like CMC, but his value is so like it's about to drop off. Like
I know.
if you could get a young receiver and a first
One
round
more
pick,
injury, he's useless.
I'm just telling you, I 100% stand by that trade. I think that was more than a fair trade, and I think you should have taken it.
All right, well, I got one more trivia for you. It's another
Let's hear
list just like that. This one is only 8 running backs had 10 or more targets in the red zone in 2021.
In the red
In the red zone?
In the red zone.
Wait, how
10
many
or more-
total?
10
Is
or
total?
more
Only
targets?
8 running backs. Only
Okay.
8 running backs. Yes, had 10 or more total targets in the red zone. Who are
Okay.
they?
Eckler,
Yeah.
Eckler had 16.
Aaron Jones,
Jonathan Taylor?
Jonathan Taylor's not on the list.
Aaron Jones.
Aaron
Ooh,
Jones had 15.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Cook?
Cook's not on the list.
Najee.
Oh, yeah.
Najee
Najee
had
him.
Najee had 14.
Yeah.
So you guys got
Who
1,
am I
2,
missing?
3, 4, 5. You guys got 5 more.
Is Cordell Patterson considered one? Is he on the list?
Yeah,
12.
Okay.
He had 12.
Um,
You guys are missing one obvious one. 2 obvious ones, in my opinion.
JD McKissick.
No, not on the list.
Not CMC, right?
No,
Did he have enough?
no.
I mean, I know he didn't, but you never know.
Just one game,
He,
yeah.
he did happen before.
Fuck me.
Who am I missing at the top?
Hold on.
You said
there's
it's
2
obvious.
You're missing the
So
first
there's
guy,
Zeke.
second guy, Zeke, 17. Yes, Zeke had 17.
Oh, okay.
targets. He's number 2 on the list. He's not even number 1.
So who's number 1? You already said Eckler.
Yeah, this guy is
Mixon.
Mixon's not on the
Oh.
list.
Fuck.
1 should be 1,000%. He should have been the first name off your mouth. Like Eckler's obviously the 101 of this, you would think, but number 2 is obvious.
I'm at a loss for like the
Kareem
top
Hunt?
running backs.
No, not
No,
Kareem
not
Hunt.
even close.
Not
No.
Kareem. He would have been last year. Last year he did a lot. Not last
Yeah.
year. 2020.
The year
But
before.
yeah, but 2021 he didn't play enough games.
Years are merging.
Think about games played. Think about good offenses.
Oh, Kamara.
Kamara had 14. He's on the
Oh,
list.
duh. Yeah.
You guys are missing the number 1 guy and the guy.
Still?
missing- Yeah, the
Still
number 1.
missing the number 1 guy.
Yeah, and you're missing the last guy on the list too. So you guys have got all the middle. You guys got all the meat.
All right.
Who?
I know you wanted to type 45, but I'll stay on here for a fucking hour until I get this.
DeAndre Swift.
Swift is the last guy on the list with 11.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's one
More guy had
number 1 guy.
the most red zone targets of any running back, and we can't think of it.
Who in the F?
This one's not obvious. So
'Cause I never draft running backs.
I thought you said it was obvious.
no,
Yeah.
I said Kamara. I was saying Kamara's obvious.
was the obvious.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
He was number
Let's-
one, but he's not obvious.
No, he's not number one.
Yeah, the guy who's number one is not obvious, is what you're
Wait.
saying.
He's not obvious. No.
Really?
Yeah. It's not obvious. You're gonna get it eventually because if you just think of a good offense and you just
All right,
name
let's
all
just go.
32.
Let's just go teams. Let's go teams. Let's start naming teams here. Dave.
Buffalo, Miami.
No, not the Jets.
I'm in
not
the AFC. Yeah,
Not the Patriots. All right, move on. Who we got? Who we got next?
Denver, Oakland. Not Jacobs. He didn't have any.
No, he doesn't get
Right.
He doesn't get
Not
targets.
Jacobs.
Chargers. Oh, Eckler. We already said
Eckler,
him.
already
Who's
said,
the other
yeah.
team in that division? Who's the other team in that fucking division?
Is it
was
CEH?
No.
It's not
That's not
CH. I'm not gonna even guess
Oh,
that. I'm not even gonna guess
Probably
that.
sucks.
not
I don't even want to waste my breath guessing on that one. All
I already
right.
said Jonathan Taylor. Who's
It's not gonna be the
Jacksonville's guy?
Giants.
Wasn't Giant?
Got
The Jets?
Cowboys. It's not Gibson.
No.
It's not.
No.
And it's not going to be Miles Sanders. All right. What other divisions are there?
Who
David
else did I
Montgomery?
say?
David
No.
Montgomery?
No.
Question mark?
No, not David
All right.
Montgomery.
Here, Jones
Just
down,
fucking
man.
tell us.
No. Wait, how many more divisions we got left?
He's just
All
naming
right.
every running back. He's just
That's what I'm
going
saying,
through
like,
every division,
might as well
every
just tell
team.
The AFC.
Uh,
Oh, Ravens.
Leonard
Freeman.
no.
Was it Freeman?
Leonard Fournette?
No.
Ding ding.
Oh,
Got
Freeman
it.
was
Let's
a good one.
go.
How do we not know that he had caught a shit ton of passes? Yeah, we should have got that already.
Fournette had 18 total red zone targets.
Yeah.
That's insane.
No, that
That
makes
is
100% sense.
You guys just only had to run through the entire freaking NFL to figure it out.
Because you're
Like,
not thinking about like elite pass catchers, but yeah, he catches a shit ton. So as soon as he said it, I'm like, yeah, that makes 100% sense.
Yeah, once I got to the Bucks, I was like, all right.
I was like, yeah, because he has a good offense. They're always in the red zone, and Tom Brady loves to dump it down. Like that was obvious to
Check
me.
down machine.
Yeah. Okay. All right. You're right.
So that is your 2022 auction startup draft strategy show of the year. We'll do another one next year. We always do it. It's always fun. A little refresher. I want more people to play auction. I get, people tell me if you want any player you want in a snake, just trade for him. No, it shouldn't be that way. We should all have an equal opportunity to get our own guys and play the game the right way and build the team we actually like. How many times do you come off an auction going, I fucking nailed it? All of us do. All of us do. I know we do.
It's your team. Yep.
How many
Yep.
snakes do we do? You're like, I wish I could have got that guy just because one guy didn't fall. Come on.
Yep.
Yeah. One guy
Ridiculous.
can literally change your whole draft because now you're like, I don't want him, and I wanted that guy, and I wanted that position. Now I'm going to switch because I don't like the next guy on that position all the time. Yeah, I agree completely. That sucks.
Yeah,
Yep.
it does suck. But thank you for coming on, Marco. You won trivia. Dave is obviously an idiot.
Let's fucking go. Sorry, Dave. Next.
Dave, where can we find you on Twitter lately? You're being very nice today.
I'm always nice. At Viking Dave 18. What are you talking about? And I'm going to be
This
on
wasn't
another
a-
show. In
This
about
wasn't
30
a very
minutes.
controversial episode. I want to be invited back on when like Dave and I can get into an argument about something. Like this is just like we're all patting each other's backs about the strategies.
I'm down.
We're not gonna.
Marco,
I'm always
anytime
ready
you
to
wanna-
argue.
anytime you want to come on, you're good to go. You're a good guy. You're awesome. We enjoy you.
thank you.
Just and sometimes, like I don't know what you did, but your internet was trash, and I didn't say anything about it. But whatever you
Yeah,
did,
You were cutting out a
fixed
little
it.
bit.
I think so.
yeah, I don't know what you did.
Yeah,
but
it did
was
get
awesome.
better the second half. It's true. Yeah.
I looked
So-
at my computer really hard and it worked.
So hopefully everyone stood around and actually heard you because you had some good facts. But you can find him on Twitter somewhere. I tell him to get on. He'd be a great follow if he tried because he's very smart, well
I don't
written,
tweet.
but he does not tweet. You can find me at Josh
what
Kimball
is
US.
tweet?
What is tweet? I tweet nonsense nonstop, literally
No,
nonstop.
yeah, literally nonsense. That's why I talk so much shit to you because I'm annoyed by it.
Every time I think about getting on Twitter, I look at Josh's Twitter and then I say, no, fuck that. I'm not
You
gonna.
know what?
Don't be Josh on Twitter.
Once
Just
a month,
off.
I pop one, guys. Once a month. All right. Until next time, I will see you guys next week, Dave.
No, probably not. What
Damn
are we
it.
talking about next week?
The draft.
The
I don't
draft,
know.
Maybe I don't know that thing that's happening.
We'll talk. We'll see. We'll see.
Bye.
I don't know rookies. What do you want me to tell you?